Hey everyone, Mark Edward Willows here, and welcome once again to Gabbin Cabin. Have a great guest tonight. If you are as old as I am and grew up in the 50s, or the 60s, I should say, the 70s, the 80s, you definitely know this gentleman because for 5 seasons, he starred on one of the hottest programs on CBS called Family Affair. And I'm telling you, there are a lot of people that would roll over in their graves that I am speaking to this gentleman. Johnny Whitaker is our guest tonight, and he played Jody Davis on Family Affair. John, welcome to the program.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Oh, I have to tell you, it is truly an honor. You are speaking with a gentleman that grew up watching Family Affair. It was a wonderful program, and we're going to talk about a lot of things tonight, including your latest projects, ventures. But I guess I need to ask you what everyone probably wants to know. What was it like appearing on Family Affair as a little child like you were?
Well, I always say that, growing up, I didn't know any difference. I knew that I got up for family prayer at around 6:30
Mm.
and breakfast in the car by 7 o'clock to then get to the studio by 8 o'clock. Went into the studio, got into my wardrobe, then into school with Anissa and Mrs. Deeney.
Mm.
Then when they called me onto the set, did my lines, did whatever it was that we needed to do, came back to school, went to lunch, came home, um, went to or went to lunch, came back to the studio, went back to school, um, went back to be with uh, Mrs. Deeney and Anissa, then got back onto the set. Then, after being on the set, we would go back to school until we were finished doing school. We were done, hopped in the car, went to work. Went to home and studied my lines for the next day in the car or fell asleep, whatever. Uh, got home by about 6 o'clock. Uh, um, 6:30, we would have dinner. Uh, would continue studying my lines, and my brothers and sisters would be doing their homework. I then would we'd get together for family prayer, have family prayer, go to go to bed, go to sleep. My mother would come and sit next to me, read me my lines while I was sleeping, and then uh, that's how my day went.
The life of a child actor. And I need to ask you, Johnny, how did the acting come about? Because naturally you were very young. Was it the normal route, auditions, getting an agent? How did it all begin? Or did someone just say, God, this kid's drop dead gorgeous. He belongs in pictures? How did it all start?
Well, started with my sisters. Well, my father and his family, they all have um, beautiful voices.
Mhm.
And my dad said that if any of his kids didn't come out singing a perfect C, they weren't his kids.
Oh.
So we did all come out singing a perfect C, as my mother will attest.
Mhm.
And my sisters were singing in a um, the children's program for our congregation,
Mhm.
and they had a little girl who was prepared to sing with them. She got the chicken pox, and the only other kid in the group who knew the song, because I was practicing and being the backup to this little girl who got the chicken pox. So I went up and did the song
Wow.
as I
And
sang the first.
I have to attest, you have an excellent voice because just recently I saw the episode on Family Affair where you sang being Mr. President. And I remember that episode so
Every
well,
little
and I was like,
boy can be president,
yes,
can
can
be
be
president,
president.
can be president of the United States of America.
Yes, and you were excellent. You had the high-pitched voice and all. Now, I want to just briefly touch too. Family Affair was a very unique show. Anissa Jones played your twin. In real life, you are not twins. You are not even related. How did that come about? You have to admit that is a very unique situation.
Well, originally, Family Affair was set for a 16-year-old girl and a 10-year-old brother and a 6-year-old girl. I had just finished doing The Russians Are Coming, The Russians Are Coming with Brian Keith, and he insisted that I come and audition um, at the when they were doing the screen test for
Mhm.
Buffy and Jody and Sissy. So I was the only 6-year-old, while there were a lot of 10-year-old boys. And I worked with a lot of the different girls, and then they put
Mhm.
Anissa and I together. And when Anissa and I were together, they said, wait a minute, they look like twins.
I was going to say magic happened, huh?
Exactly. The Hollywood magic happened, and they changed the script to be 6-year-old twins instead of and then we didn't have to look exactly alike because we
Right,
weren't biological twins, or we were fraternal twins and not identical twins.
right. Now
But
in life, were you and Anissa very close, like on screen?
off the screen, I would say we were friends.
Hmm.
Um, we came from very different backgrounds.
Hmm.
Anissa's mother was a test and very strong atheist, and I came from a very strong LDS, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Mormon family.
Hmm.
So there was definitely some uh, differences. I remember Anissa's mother, Paula. Well, I didn't know this until later, but she told Mrs. Deeney, our teacher, that we are not to be taught any religion at school,
Hmm.
and that anytime that religion came up, Mrs. Deeney was to shut the conversation down. And, of course, there are times in history where religion and history meet,
Hmm.
one of them being the the Puritans as they came across, and we were studying about the Puritans, and
Hmm.
you have to talk about religion and the religious, what they were leaving was, religious persecution. And I
Hmm.
happen to mention that my family is Mormon, LDS, and I have um, family who came across from England and suffered persecution right here in the United States because of um, religious persecution.
Hmm.
And so he's, oh, what really? What was that? And I started talking a little bit about the Mormon faith and
Mhm.
my ancestors, my great 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 grandfather, and my great grandfather, one on my father's side, the other on my mother's side, and just started explaining a little bit. And as I got a little bit too religious, Mrs. Deeney said, "That's fine, John. Well, thank you very much."
Mhm.
And I said, "Well, wait a minute. I haven't gotten to the good part yet." And she goes,
Mhm.
"Well, that's about all we can really talk about." And I
Mhm.
said,
Interesting.
"Why?" And she said, "Well, it's not appropriate in school to talk about God." And
Mhm.
Anissa said, I believe in God, but don't tell my mother I said that."
Interesting. Wow. See, it was even that way back in Hollywood. Now, I also wanted to just briefly touch too on Family Affair being a show. Tell me, Johnny, if you would agree or disagree. It really was before its time. I mean, let's face it, Mr. French, gentleman, Brian Keith, Uncle Bill, two guys raising kids. Back then, that was unheard of. Today, it's very common. So would you say that really was way ahead of its time, the show?
Well, of course, Sebastian Cabot and Brian Keith were heterosexual men, or at least that's
Mhm.
what we believe. That,
Right.
we don't know. Mr. French may have had something from Miss Faversham,
Yeah.
but we know that Uncle Bill had a plethora of young ladies that he
Oh,
was
up
dating.
teen every episode.
So, with that, today it would definitely be gay men with
Sure. Sure.
family
But
that
back
was
then, no one really thought of it that way. Or if they
right.
did, you didn't dare say it.
Exactly. Anyway, um,
Yeah.
so just that fact, very strongly possible, yes.
Hmm.
Um, and but hey, to each his own.
Sure.
It's a beautiful thing, and the fact that two men could raise
Hmm.
children that aren't their own, if necessary.
More power to them. Now, we need to talk about your latest venture, which is something very exciting. Not only did you star on Family Affair, you were also for 2 seasons on Sigmund and the Sea Monsters.
There's actually 3 seasons,
Three, oh, excuse me, 3 seasons. Okay. And you worked
29
with,
episodes.
wow. And of course, that show was created by the famous Sid and Marty Krofft, who are probably, or I should say, were the greatest puppeteers that were ever around. Now, how did that
I just spoke with Sid this afternoon.
really?
Yes,
And
he's
how,
doing at 94 years old, and he's doing excellent.
wow. That is fabulous. Now, how did that come about? Now, most actors are very lucky to be in one series. You were in two, and both of them were hits. And I mean,
Well,
not
actually, I
really
was in four.
four, okay, but right after Family Affair, boom, you just went into another one where some actors go off into wherever. How did that all come about?
Well, I had an excellent agent. Her
Mhm.
name is Mary Grady, or was. She's now gone at 94 herself, about
Mhm.
3 years ago. Um, and Mary made sure that I was working all the time, even when Family Affair was on hiatus. I
Mhm.
continued to work. I did 3 episodes of Gunsmoke. I did Bonanza. I did Bewitched. I did
Mhm.
Green
I
Acres.
remember Bewitched, Jack and the Beanstalk.
I did 2 episodes of Green Acres. So I was very prolific as a
Sure.
child actor. And when I finished Family Affair, I was supposed to be doing a that summer. Well, I did 4 Walt Disney films in 1971, and I was supposed to do another Disney film when my agent wanted me to audition for Tom Sawyer, and I said I can't do that because I'm going to Boy Scout camp. And she said, "Well, just meet with him." So I did, and I got the role for Tom Sawyer. After Tom Sawyer, Sid and Marty Krofft wanted me for the new series, and I said I wouldn't take it unless I got to be producer at 13 years old. And so I did. I got to help cast my little brother, Scott Colden,
Mhm.
and got to do other little things. And we did music for the first season.
Mhm.
After each show, I sang a song and had an album called Friends. And, so I was one of the youngest producers in Hollywood. I did not get the credit as a producer, but
Mhm.
I got 5% of the show. So I'm extremely happy that we have the Sid and Marty Krofft channel.
Yes,
And
which is what we want to talk about. And it's, I believe, Cineverse is bringing it back and going to be distributing it. And how do you feel? I mean, isn't this amazing? Technology today just blows me. I mean, Family Affair is on every day on Antenna TV. I mean, these shows are back, which means you are introducing yourself to a whole new generation. I mean, I've had young kids come up to me and, oh my God, you're going to be talking to Jody? And they're 11 years old. So that is really something. How do you feel about this? Did you ever think that Sigmund and the Sea Monsters would be back on the air somewhere?
because of the type of a show that it's a Krofft show,
Mhm.
and just a fun one. I mean, people ask me, don't you, shouldn't it have been a an educational show which taught, ABCs and 1, 2, 3 and government and all of this? And I said, no, it should be a fun show that
Mhm.
kids just watch to enjoy. And so that's what happened.
Yeah.
And
And it's amazing how these shows today surface because let's face it, you and I are both from the generation where you had several channels, networks, and several independent stations. And look what today is. And I mean, whoever thought we would be watching Family Affair 50 something years later or this show? It really and truthfully is. It is unbelievable. Now, let me ask you, where do you see yourself in the future? Will we see Johnny Whitaker in any other entertainment projects?
well, I'm gonna see if I can pull it up just a second. But yes, I'm currently working on a project that's going to be filming in North Carolina this fall.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it is up. If I can share my screen, or if you go to www.skybluemovie.com, and that's SKYEBLEU movie.com, you can see it. And
Okay.
basically, with my partner and best friend, D. Bryant Liggins, myself, we wrote a script that is a short film. It's a SAG short film, and it's called Sky Blue. It's all about a young mixed race black girl, white and black. Her father is white, her mother's black, and I am the only relative after my son dies and leaves her orphaned along
Mhm.
his my son and his wife leave her orphaned. And so it's what a southern white racist, white supremacist would do when faced with the fact that he has to take care of his mixed race granddaughter.
Wow, that is an interesting storyline. I have a feeling that's going to be a big hit. Well, anyway, Johnny, listen, we are just about out of time. Wonderful having you on the show once again. Sigmund and the Sea Monsters coming into Sid and Marty Croft channel. Be looking for that. Family Affairs still all over the place. Antenna TV, different platforms, I guess YouTube, whatever. And I guess, I mean, back in the day, everybody used to joke about I Love Lucy never going away. Well, guess what? Either it's Family Affair or any of the projects that you have been involved in. And that is absolutely wonderful. Is there any final thoughts, messages you'd want to tell your fans? Something I would not think of asking you that you want them
No
to know about
problem.
Johnny Whitaker.
I am a person in long-term recovery, meaning that for 26 years, I have not had a drink or a drug.
Well, that
And,
is wonderful. We applaud that.
and on September 14th of this year, I will be having a Zoom meeting, which is celebrating lives lost and lives recovered. We celebrate the lives of those who have died due to a overdose or alcohol death, and we announce their names. And because Anissa is one of the first that I've had to deal with,
Right,
uh,
exactly.
Don Grady's sister, um, she was my stepsister, foster sister. Her mother was my agent, Lonnie O'Grady from the Eight is Enough
Eight is
show.
enough. Yes.
And well, Anissa, her, and then Dana Plato. I was Dana Plato's last manager before she passed.
Mhm.
And I also have a very dear friend whose son died of fentanyl overdose. And I have a god nephew who died of a fentanyl overdose. And Michael Douglas's half brother,
Mhm.
Eric Douglas, and I were party party dudes
Party
together.
animals or whatever, right?
And, um, he died of a cocaine overdose.
Mhm.
And so I celebrate all of these lives plus others. And if anybody has a family member that they'd like to pay homage to on the 14th of September, please send that to overdose awareness 0831@gmail.com. And you can also go to johnnywhitaker.com, and we will have information there. And I've got also a Facebook fan page. And in 2025, we're going to be traveling to Mexico together. We've got a cruise to Mexico, and we've got a lot of people planning to go there. And go to johnnywhitaker.com or my Facebook fan page, and you can get more information there.
Well, that is great and very great news. And once again, congratulations on you. And you seem like you are doing absolutely wonderful. Growing up, would you just quickly say, was it a rough life with all what you've done?
It was a charmed life growing up, but as Christopher Knight has said, who's a friend of mine from
Right. Brady
uh,
Bunch.
the Brady Bunch, he said, Hollywood loves you when you're a puppy. Then when you become a dog, they send you to the dogs, uh,
I like that.
or something
That
like that.
Yes, that is very true. Well, Johnny, once again, thank you so much. Really appreciate having you on the show. You're always
Thank
welcome
you.
to come back. All the best. Good luck with all of these shows, the reruns, your future, and the September thing, what you're going to be doing to honor these folks. And you are definitely a credit to the entertainment industry. And I
Thank
feel
you.
like I am speaking to an icon in the entertainment industry because that is exactly what you are. So thank you so much.
Thank you.